Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to do chapters 3 and 4 today. I really enjoyed some of your comments and
Mr.
would,
Pratt's class, step it up. Your comment game is weak.
I'm really excited to see what our protagonist is going to get into next.
Okay, chapter 3. Maybe I should have said a prayer for my dad too, because I wasn't the only one dealing with some heavy stuff that night. In fact, when we came out of church after services, there was a crowd of people with cameras and microphones waiting for us. It was a little like walking into a pack of hungry lions, and guess who was on the menu? Detective Cross. Care to comment on the assault charges against you? Alex, over here. Is there a trial date set? They're saying you need to go to jail, Detective Cross. Do you agree? It was all just words. I knew that. But at the same time, it's not true what people say about words. They can hurt you. And all those questions the reporters were throwing at my dad felt like they might as well have been throwing rocks. Here's what it was all about. 6 months ago, Dad had gone to an interviewed the father of a murder suspect. The suspect's name was Tyler Yang, and he was already in jail. But when Dad got to the Yang's house that day, Mr. Yang wasn't having it. He said his son was innocent and tried to kick Dad off their front porch. It turned into a scuffle. Then Mr. Yang fell down the steps. His head hit the pavement really hard, and he had to go to the hospital. Ever since then, he'd been in a coma. Now, the Yang family was suing Dad and the police department for assault. Maybe also for murder, depending on whether Mr. Yang survived. It was crazy. I didn't believe Dad was guilty for a second. He said it was an accident, but try telling that to a crowd following us up the street that night. The closer Dad's trial got, the more they were dogging him with nonstop questions everywhere he went. Alex, did you deliberately push Mr. Yang down the stairs? Are you ashamed of yourself, Detective Cross? What's it feel like to put someone in the hospital? My stepmom, Bree, grabbed my hand. I took my great-grandma, Nana, Mama, by the arm on the other side. I wanted these people out of my face. I wish I had some kind of flashbang on me, the kind they use for police raids. Not to hurt anyone, but just loud and disorienting enough to make these reporters wish they'd all stay home on Christmas Eve. Meanwhile, we still had to get back to the car. Detective Cross, do you think you set a good example for your family? Someone asked. A spotlight hit my eyes. Then, and another camera popped up pointing right at me and my sister. That's when I heard Janny let out a sob, and even though I'm the youngest, I wasn't going to let them do that to her, or anyone in my family. Hey, back off, I shouted. My dad didn't do anything, so why are you coming for him like this? In case you hadn't noticed, it's supposed to be Christmas. Shh, Bree said in my ear. Just keep walking. Allie, anything else to say? Another reporter asked. Are you proud of your dad? You proud of yours? I asked. Then I felt Dad's hand on my shoulder. Not another word, he said. But I couldn't help it. Sometimes my mouth starts going and I can't find the off switch. Tell me about it.
I know.
Yeah, I'm proud of my dad, I yelled back. Why don't you put that in your story? Or better yet, why don't you write something about Gabriel Qualls or do some good for a change? I shouldn't have said the last part about doing good. That always reminding me we have freedom of speech here and freedom of the press too. Just because a few reporters don't know how to be professional, it doesn't mean they're all bad. They're mostly good at their jobs, just like the cops. Who's Gabriel Qualls? Qualls, Ali, one of the reporters shouted. Is he a friend of yours? What's the story there? But I didn't get to answer. Dad was already stepping in to take over, which was just as well because I was ready to go off on these people. And trust me, nobody needed that. Detective Alex Cross looked at his son, Ali, and tried not to smile. There was nothing funny about what was going on, but it was hard not to admire the fire that big, burning that brightly in a guy as little as Ali. He had a spirit much as the person he was nicknamed for, the greatest boxer of all time, Muhammad Ali. Meanwhile, these reporters weren't going to leave them alone until they got some kind of comment. There was even a chance one of or more would follow the family back home if Alex stayed silent. So he stepped forward and raised his voice above the fray. As you all know perfectly well, I can't discuss my case here, Alex said. If you want to hear any more about it, I suggest you come to my trial and take careful notes. Detective Cross, can you say a little more about Russ Miller from Channel 4 started in, but Alex spoke right over him. However, he said, let me make one thing very clear. None of this has anything to do with my family. My children will have nothing more to say about the matter, tonight or ever. Understood? Alex glanced down at Allie, just to make sure he was listening too. The reporter started in with another firestorm of questions, but Alex was done. That's all I have to say, he told the crowd. Thank you and good night. And a Merry Christmas to you all. Then, with a Papa Bear sweep of his arm, he pointed the way for Bree, Nana Mama, Damon, Janie, and Ali to follow him back to the car. Enough was enough. It was time to go.
Chapter 4. I got a real good talking to in the car on the way home. Not from Dad or Bree. From Nana Mama. You need to check yourself, young man, Nana told me. What exactly was supposed to be happening back there? Did you hear what those reporters were saying? I asked. They made Janie cry. I can take care of myself, Janie said. That's not the point, Nana said. Why do you think they speak that way? To get us to answer their questions, I said. More than that, they want your father to get mad, Nana and Mama said. They want him to behave exactly like the angry and violent man he's accused of being. And you know Alex would do anything to defend you, including put himself in harm's way. So why don't you think twice next time you feel like taking things into your own hands? Nana Mama is 90-something years old, but she can still get fired up. And believe me, when she does, you feel the heat. I'm sorry, Dad, I said. I really was. I felt like a dummy for falling into that trap. I know this isn't easy on you guys, Dad said, but Nana's right. When they go low, Bree said, we go high. I said along with Damon and Janie. It was one of the Bree's favorite quotes, but to be honest, it was kind of getting old. I mean, all those grown-ups were out there being a bunch of jerks, and I was the one who had to do the right thing. In any case, Bree said, that was a beautiful thing you did in church, Allie. Yes, Nana Mama agreed. Sending all those prayers up for Gabriel can only do him good. I was glad to get back on Nana Mama's good side anyway. And now that Gabe had come up again, I had some questions. Hey, Dad, I asked from the back. Have you heard anything about his case? Nothing since you asked me this afternoon, Dad said. I know you're anxious, son, but I won't be able to check in with the Detective Sutter until after tomorrow. Detective Wendy Sutter was the police officer assigned to Gabe's case. That much I knew. But there hadn't been any word on how it was going, or if it was going at all. Don't worry too much, sweetie, Bree told me. MPD closes 99% of its missing persons cases. I know, I said, but I was still going to worry. I mean, someone had to be part of the other 1%. What if that was Gabe? What if he was never found? I couldn't stop it turning all over in my mind. That's just the way my brain works, like a generator in a blackout, never stopping, always running, always going. Meanwhile, I kept my mouth shut and rode the rest of the way home in silence, trying not to think about it too much, but thinking about it anyway. Merry Christmas, Gabe, wherever you are. All right, guys, let us know what you think about these two chapters. Tell us if you had any vocabulary words that you came across that maybe you want to try and use context clues to figure out, or if you heard any foreshadowing.
Cool.
See you next time.